there is just not something for entrepreneurs in this city. Talk about what the current level is of your relationship. Talk about what the current level is of your business. And don't lie if you earn like, let's say 1,000 or 2,000 plus 3,000 euros more.
Friends are committed on your birthday and brothers are committed on your potential. And that's a very, very different way.
If you don't experience it, you're never gonna have your answers.
So what is it that you love the most about Madrid?
Okay, you caught me off guard there.
Always.
Yeah.
You switched on.
No, what do I love about Madrid? What is it that I love so much about Madrid? I think it's, again, like, it feels like almost stupid because I've mentioned this already so many times to you, but it's like the limitlessness. Like,
Yeah.
just when you walk here in the city, you feel that everything is possible and you just get so much ambition, you have so much inspiration. I think like a city really awakens you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good answer. I remember when I came visiting here last year in April, and then we were at the rooftop and you guys asked me this question, and that was my answer, like, just limitless. Like, I come from a small village with like 2,000 people.
Same.
And I've traveled a little bit, but even last year when we lived together in Malaga, or 1.5 years ago already, right? We were there for 5 months. We wanted to organize a dinner with entrepreneurs in the town, but there were just barely no entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And yeah, now we're here and there's so many people. And what struck me the most is that there are a lot of entrepreneurs, but they all don't have an entrepreneurial circle.
Yeah. Something that we've seen that's missing, hence why, of course, we're doing this, right? Why we've created the Enlightenment, because there is just not something for entrepreneurs in this city. What is like really strange, because if, for example, we look back in the Netherlands, or like here you also have like networking events, but it's not really focused on a high level entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
It's more about just making a connection, having a cup of coffee, and that's it. It's quite low in depth, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the first few months when I was here, not really knowing anybody besides you. And then I went to these networking events and there are some people, but it's just a different scenery and a lot of freelancers as well, which
Yeah.
is different than being a business owner. And I actually find it harder to create real relationships when you're in a networking environment. Like if it's just a bar and you can just network and there's not really any like help whatsoever. It's so open. There's so much room for, you can go out in a suit, you can go out in just a normal t-shirt.
Yeah.
You can be the most successful entrepreneur or starting entrepreneur. So there's not really one line where you can find your people.
Yeah. I think it has a lot to do as well with just the familiar conversations, for example. Like we had a dinner a couple of weeks ago and his name was...
Oli?
Sorry?
Oli?
Not Oli. No, it was about Iniguez.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he mentioned, for example, to me that one of his biggest struggle was when he's with friends or with family or just with people that don't have a business for themselves. He really wants to talk about business. That's like a little fire in himself telling about like, hey, I want to talk about business. And then he does it. But then he sees that when he does it in like his circle or with his friends or with his family, that everybody just... It's like, oh yeah.
Boring.
So
yeah. I had this in my hometown as well, literally. For me, it was just all I could think about. When I was younger, I was obsessed by it. I could not have fun anymore, but now, of course, I can. But I was so obsessed about it, and then the only thing I wanted to talk about was business or the project I'm working on, the things I'm creating, and I'm enthusiastic about that thing.
Yeah.
But in my hometown, I've got like a very strange friends group with like farmers, technicians, gardeners, and then like a high level ice skater, and then me, business. So it's a totally random group, and it's good to have that group. But what I learned throughout the years is that is not the group where I go for advice or talk about business or, my real passions.
Yeah.
And I think
it's
that's
a completely different conversation.
Exactly. And once I learned that, it's like, and also through building the Enlightenment, it showed me more and more, and it confirmed it more, that you have different groups where you go to for different things. And I think that is, if I speak for myself, one of the biggest reasons why we start the Enlightenment.
True. it's about, of course, making connections with people that are like-minded, that understand the struggle, that know when, for example, I drop in a groove like, oh, hectic week, that they're like, we know what
Yeah.
hectic week is,
Yeah.
But I could say like, oh, I'm off track, and then immediately the conversation switches to, oh, you're off track. Like, what is your plan? How are you gonna get on track again? Like, what is the solution? What have you been thinking of? Like, the conversation changes a lot to immediately execution.
Yeah.
That's something I really like about it as well. It's not about just talking about it and then just talking a bit around it. No, it's about, okay, what's happening right now? What are you suffering of? Is there like a solution that you have already created for yourself? Are you looking for someone? Can I
Yeah.
connect you to someone that perhaps could help you with the problem? Like, it creates so many opportunities, and that's what conversation does. Like, you out of all people should know, of course, what kind of conversation can do to people.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's why it's so important to, yeah, surround yourself with the right circle.
So for the people watching, what would you say is the mission and vision for the Enlightenment, and which people fit in, and for who shouldn't come?
Yeah.
Just as important.
Before I answer the question, that's as well like a nice thing to discuss for this podcast we're recording today. What you have in your hand right there is our vision, where we literally
Yeah.
wrote down what we set out and we chose to achieve for the Enlightenment. And like, to just like give you already a little spoiler, and later in the podcast we'll tell more about it. But like, what I find the most amazing thing in this vision is about creating really a brotherhood, creating something where it's not just a group of friends or
Yeah.
a network group or just somebody that we see each other like once in the quarter. No,
Yeah.
it's about having a commitment on each other's potential. And when you see that somebody is, for example, lacking, or you see that somebody's just not taking it serious, well, he said that he has these big ambitions and goals, but then doesn't take the actions towards it. But
Yeah.
you can point somebody out for it and like call them out on it. And I would say that's like one of the things in the vision. And of course, it's described more detailed, but like that specific thing, that's
Yeah.
what I like really love about it.
You know, if I go back to what I missed in this town, is the network with people that are like-minded. And obviously there are a lot of like-minded people, but once you get into like certain things, like we are also very inspired by the gentleman.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this scenery. That's why we're sitting here, and look at what we're wearing. Like, we like to wear suits. We love the art of it, or learning more about how the etiquettes around a cigar, or about drinking wine, but also just doing a sports event and just more of the brotherhood side, and not always being in a suit. Because I think a misconception what you often see for gentleman networks or clubs is that it's too tight, or it's like it's stiff.
Yeah.
Or it's 50-year-old plus men smoking cigars,
Yeah.
sitting in a room with
And
a lot of
we've
money.
We've experienced both.
And we've seen both.
We've seen both.
And I think what I personally love so much is that we are focused on the modern gentleman. We're not 50 years old. We're not old guys. We focus on 21 to 45, in between that age. It's more younger. And I think, Francesco, one of the members in an interview, also said it like, younger, bright minds. It's like there's much more energy to
Yeah.
create. And those are the circles I want to surround myself with.
Yeah.
So if you look at the network and the people who shouldn't come.
First, I believe like people that really have like a big resistance against it, because like, you love us or you hate us, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's one of the two. And if you hate us because it totally doesn't resonate with you, that's fine.
Yeah.
You don't need to come. Like, I'm not putting pressure on you or anything. But let's say, for example, right, you love us because you as well have a business that's doing well over 500,000 euros in the year, right? That loves to show up, and not show up just like in jogging pants or sweats or something and a sweater. No, loves to show up classy, come good for the day. Somebody that really misses having depth conversations, like
Yeah.
conversations that really, where you also are able to talk openly about yourself, right? Talk about what the current level is of your relationship. talk about what the current level is of your business. And don't lie if you earn like, let's say 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 euros more. Just be honest, because then
Yeah.
we can actually like work with you towards, hey, what do you desire? What do you set out? What do you
Yeah.
choose for? So I also think like honesty, somebody that loves to take ownership in their lives, because I know from ourselves, and we make a joke out of this because we're Dutch, we're super direct.
Yeah.
So we'll say if we think something and we think we want to give you something back. So if you can accept that and you're open to, of course, hearing like certain feedback about yourself or getting insights about yourself, then I think those would really align with what we're creating right here.
Yeah, I remember a while ago, we were recording some content and you were a little bit stressed out. And before the podcast started, we have such a good friendship. We know that we can be honest to each other. So I said something to you like, hey, I don't want to be difficult, but maybe you should kind of like relax a little bit, something along those lines. Or, hey, this is a little bit reactive, right? If you're stressed, you're in a reactive state.
Yeah.
So that's what I gave back to you. And you were like, okay, I'll have a look at it and think about it and adjust it right now. And I think that is something where if you're a real friend, like real friends are honest and just say what they think is best for them.
Yeah.
I know you're ambitious. I know you have goals. I'm a loser friend if I'm not serving you by showing you who you are and what your potential is.
Yeah. If you please me.
Yeah.
Right.
And it doesn't mean we're always like, oh, this is not good, but we're joking. Most of the times we have more fun than anything else. But we know that we help each other by being honest, by mirroring, giving feedback. I heard this guy say something about you, and maybe something you can think about.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's something we don't see enough in this world.
It's just brutal honesty about somebody's full potential.
And
you need to be able to take it.
Exactly.
Right.
But it also depends on how you bring it. Like at one of our prior salons, we had a very nice salon in Club Nuevo in Madrid, in the gentleman club there. And I ended the evening with, guys, there are brothers and there are friends. And friends are committed on your birthday.
Yeah.
And brothers are committed on your potential. And that's a very, very different way of having a friendship.
How would you say, like, give me an example of what a friendship is and what like a brother is?
Well, I think a brother is there when somebody needs you, and a brother is there to give. So often, take for example the networking example. The amount of people I've met via a networking event last year, and that said, give me your LinkedIn, we should connect, and then I never receive a message.
Yeah.
It's like, or then we do connect, I have his phone number, and I never hear from that person again. It's like, why are we even connecting in the first place?
Yeah.
And obviously not everybody is everyone's cup of tea, and you've got to be selective about who you have in your circle and who you don't. But I think brotherhood is not something you can create all of a sudden. It's something you build up with each other, and over time and over going through things and slowly opening up with each other, you can create a real bond.
Yeah.
Right? When we sat down and did the numbers for the Enlightenment, we found out very quick that if the vision that we have on this paper, we're gonna need like 4 years to build a reputation, to build a community, to build connections. It's far different if you know somebody 5 or 10 years than if it's like, I know this guy kind of.
Yeah, true. Because what we've written down in the vision, we need strong connections. We need strong people and strong entrepreneurs that resonate with us. So yeah, how you come there is like mainly by, of course, spreading the message, right?
Yeah.
Building relations. And also, again, what you as well meant, like what is a brother? Somebody that gives. So as well, by giving, keep giving.
Yeah.
And build it further out from there.
Our last salon, we went to play paddle, and we had a dinner after. And there was one gentleman, and he was part of a C-level role at Real Madrid a few years ago. And I find it very interesting because Real Madrid has like 200, 300, maybe 400, 500 people there working. It's still a company.
Yeah.
And I was quite intrigued by it. So after the event, I just said to him, look, I have a request for you. Can you make 30 minutes free next week I want to do a phone call, and I think there's a lot I can learn from you. And for 30 minutes, actually 35, we went over time. I just asked him all the questions I could have asked about what he learned in his roles, in his software experience. He was a little bit older. And, having opportunity to pick people their brains because everybody has their own experience is so valuable. You
Yeah.
cannot imagine.
Such an interesting guy, right? Like for me the same. Like I was sitting next to him at the table, so I was able to ask so many questions as well.
Yeah.
And you also get, of course, ask questions back because again, you give, you take, you give, you take. But like in such a intimate moment of just having dinner with each other, and not there was really nice food on the table, of course, because I know my restaurants, right?
Yeah, you do.
So there was really good food on the table. However, I noticed myself every time when we have an event from the Enlightenment, like I'm never really focused on the food. And that's really not like me, but it's true that when I go out for dinners, that normally I would be really focused on the dinners. But when I have the Enlightenment dinner, then I'm so much busy with just all the conversations.
Yeah.
Because you feel that you get completely like in a zone of complete focus and that you're getting so many things towards yourself that you can implement in your life
Yep.
again. Feels like you get like the golden nuggets other people are not receiving. So you want to keep asking and keep asking. And that's also for me like a thing that I just see in the Enlightenment that's so valuable for me. Is just being able to then sit down in a 1.5 hour and create a way more meaningful connection with somebody
Yeah.
than perhaps a friend that I know for more than half a year or a year. Right?
I love the word connection because I always think about the word presence, and it's very difficult to understand what the word presence means. I coach a lot of clients on the word presence and how to be more present. And it's not just, oh, I need to be in the now, not think about the future and the past. But presence is also, if you have a room of 10 to 15 entrepreneurs, they all have busy days, busy weeks, a lot of stuff going on. We as well. And then if you're in the room, all of those problems are all of a sudden gone. They're at least not present now because we are at the dinner table. We're not with our mind at some problem and some difficult relationship we need to manage. And, it's everybody is tuned in on each other. And I think also that is something that also we as the founders should protect, because that is really what makes an experience different. Right, I remember we went to a wine and cigar tasting, and it was just about the details of the wine and the details of the cigar, and then just the conversation about you, about me, and about other people, and just the presence of it is really, just really think about it for the people at home. How much time are you actually present in the now, doing the thing you're doing, or enjoying the moment versus thinking about the problem and just your rational brain is solving these things and getting out of that problem-solving mindset and just having people that know how it is to also finally step out of the problem-solving mindset is also such a, I would say, pleasure.
Yeah, I've got one more thing to add to that story as well, because when we did like the event, like the salon in, of course, the Nuevo Club, Madrid, where we were sitting down with all the boys and we're having dinner, and we talked about the rules of etiquette. Like one of the rules was not having your phone on the table. So, of course, you saw that the whole table was clear after, of course, we gave this information and people picked up. And the thing was with having the phone off the table, and you don't get distracted from all the notifications. Again, you're also more aware. So not only more aware by just not having your phone in it, but also, of course, they're like, oh, I need to play like the modern gentleman right now. And the modern gentleman doesn't have his phone on the table right now. So let's put it in my pocket. And it makes you more present.
Even to add to that, like it's not playing, it's being. And I think that's also a very important thing to preface. A lot of people play cool. Like we're not 24/7 in a suit and we call ourselves gentlemen. We can be a gentleman in sports clothing. We can be a gentleman when we're feeling bad. We can be a gentleman when we feel amazing. We can be it when we are rich, when we are poor. You can always be a gentleman. And a gentleman is not always a suit, and it's not always what's that guy from Peaky Blinders, Tommy Shelby. We're not always like the action figures. And I think that's also why a big part of the people that don't like what we are doing is the association with the mask. this may be a little bit deep, but this is very advanced. The mask of acting like a gentleman.
Yeah.
But what we are actually doing, or how I like to see it, is for all these events and salons we do, is it's a practice to step more into the being of a gentleman. And you don't need to be perfect. We do cigar workshops, or we're planning to do a winery workshop. We're gonna do another etiquette dinner. We have a lot of other cool plans, such as a golf afternoon, like golfing, different settings, even horse betting, like horse racing and betting.
And talking about as well military training.
Military training, like there's so many cool things you can do. All these different, don't want to say workshop, but experiences show you a different side of how a gentleman can be in that experience.
Yeah.
And
also, what do you take home?
Yeah, I think for us, the mission is just to show people the standard of what it is to be a gentleman, and together step into it and talk about it actually. All right. Hey, when we entered this room today, you're like, hey, the dimple, right? You need to have a thing in between. Very good, very good. It's like, we can kind of laugh about it, learn about it. And next time you're like, oh, he doesn't have a dimple. He has a dimple. He knows his stuff,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, true. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
That's what I love about it, getting into the nitty gritty and just slowly stepping into it.
Yeah. Details. That's it as well. Like what you really see, for example, what I meant with the dimple, that's the same with, for example, the salons that we host. So the events are, of course, the salons. So with the salons, we also really go into depth because having deep conversations, it's not only about the conversation, but also have, for example, a certain object, a tie or something that we speak about in that moment for really like going a level further, right? Don't really stay on the surface, like what's here to discover? How far can we go? And that also ties again with what we're doing with the Enlightenment, of course, like looking for depth.
For example, our upcoming salon is the 29th of May. And the theme is going to be the standard. And our only goal is to create a room where the standard of the room is so different from anybody else.
Yeah.
And what you often notice, if you step into a different being, not playing, but you step into a different being, you show up in a different presence, literally visually, but also just maybe your energy and just the way you talk to people. You all of a sudden speak to a whole different person. It's the same person, but a different side of the person. And I think showing people that experience by actually being there and then seeing other people, and then, some people show out, have the most amazing outfit, are so happy. Other people were a little bit timid, or they look less sharp, and just see the polarity, or one of the speakers at these events, they will show us polarity on fashion, on all these other topics that we're going to talk about. It's going to be inspiring, and I think that is also one of the most important things, to have, the polarity. So, define for me the modern gentleman.
Define the modern gentleman. Like what is personally for me, right? So for me, the modern gentleman is what he already said before we start this podcast as well, right? We're not these 50 to 60 to 70-year-old guys smoking cigars that are always in suits. We have an online business, for example. We are also like in our 20s, right? We resonate a lot with, for example, what's happening in this time of age. So for me, it's a lot about, of course, keeping myself as well, like to my own roots. For example, I have an online business, right? It's not that I own cigar launches, for example, or that I have a sports betting company, right? It's about, for me, just being respectable, right? Not only in my business, but also in my relationship with my girlfriend, for example. That's a huge factor for me. Like how I show up, for example, to my business, I also show up to my relationship, but I also show up to my friends and my family, right? And my brothers. So showing up with the same energy, with the same integrity, and with the same level of course, vision, what I want to create with it, like being intentional. And that's for me a lot about what just the modern gentleman is, like the being of a modern gentleman. I live really close with it as well, because for me, the being of a modern gentleman is something I've like aspired always, a bit, I would say, unconscious at first, because when I was watching shows like Suits or Peaky Blinders or The Wolf of Wall Street or like series about business or movies about business. Like I will always see these characters, these businessmen. I would really like look up against them. You know,
Yeah.
like I would say like this is so cool, and I will take away things from them, and I will like in that moment like act with it, like play with it, not really being fully the being, but like play and act with it. And then later I realized like I could just step in and become that person, and become the person that's same as, for example, right, these actors that you see on TV that have these characteristics, that have these fierce mentalities that really move the needle. Like I have the being of the person who moves the needle. That's for me really what the modern gentleman is. And I can go all on about this like for more than 2 hours,
Yeah.
but I want to keep this podcast short, of course. But yeah.
Yeah. So another thing I want to touch upon is the city Madrid, because I think this city fits the gentleman so well.
Yeah. Why do you think so?
Just if you look at the scenery, the buildings, kind of the class of the city is clean, safe. You know, women alone on the street 12 p.m. at night, AirPods in, they don't give a shit. At Gran Via, the busiest street in Madrid,
True.
they don't care. I never see that in other cities, and I've traveled a while. So that is also something, you know, if you look at the amount of nice places, like just even the buildings outside. This is very close nearby. Templo de Bo, the palace, like it's just a certain aesthetic and style which I really love.
Yeah. For example, this room right here as well. Like this room really represents what Madrid is, right?
Yeah,
If you look, for example, to the curtains, the doors here, the aesthetic of it, it's just Spain. It's Madrid.
yeah, yeah. Great. Hey, and for people that are quite new to like the gentleman aspect of it, what would you say? What would you advise to them? Because 3-4 years ago, we also didn't wear suits and stuff like that.
I would say if you are in Madrid, right, you resonate what we've been talking about today, and you really see that there is like alignment with yourself, experience us, right? Just come to one of our salons. You can just experience one salon, and then from that salon, like see if this is something that you would like to step into. If this is a world you are, of course, prepared to enter.
Good answer. It's all
Yeah.
about the experience, experiencing
Right.
it.
Yeah, and this is the thing. If you don't experience it, you're never gonna have your answers. It's the same with business. If you would say to the first people always that start a business, right? Or like I had this topic with another entrepreneur the other day. He was talking about IDs. That he, for example,
Yeah.
talks about like, people are always super afraid about talking about their IDs. But if you don't talk about it and don't execute it, then it's always gonna be an idea or a dream. Like you do need to execute, do action, yeah, and go for it. Same as, for example, if you now resonate with this and you think like this is cool, come to the salon.
Yeah. And that's really, you know, we're looking to expand, but we're not looking to be like a massive network. Actually, you know, one of the things we find really important is creating a brotherhood, really, and you know, being somebody you can count on. You need to know each other. So I think also the exclusivity of what we're aiming for is something that's going to be so valuable in the long term, because then the people you know are going to be the asset.
Of course, and not only that, like we also make sure that the people that are coming into the network are handpicked, right? We don't have open doors and everybody can just enter,
Yeah.
right? We have a conversation with them. I have a conversation with them. I always schedule a quick phone call to really get to know the person and
Yeah.
seeing if it also aligns with like our core values.
So we're almost around the end. What are some things people need to know if they're on the fence and they're like, all right, this is really what I'm stepping into? Because we speak about a lot of things, but it's still, I can imagine it's a little bit vague. Yeah, these experiences, but how often and things
Yeah.
like that.
So what the Enlightenment does, of course, is we have every quarter a salon. That just means like we're gonna do something extremely like valuable. Like we have a dinner in the Nuevo Club Madrid. That's a club in Madrid where you can have a really good dinner. You can drink. There's a bar. You can just have a really nice evening. For example, we've had a cigar launch. For example, in the cigar launch smoked a cigar. We got lots of information about smoking a cigar, how to smoke a cigar.
Yeah.
While of course we are with multiple entrepreneurs again, so we also have room for open conversation to connect with each other. It's like what I always see is that people always think like they come to a salon and everything's like super stiff.
Yeah.
It isn't. Like we just talk about everything that we can talk about. We're just having fun. We're enjoying our time. That's it, right? We have a WhatsApp group chat. In the WhatsApp group chat, there's an announcement channel for everything that we do. If it's a sport event, of course, through the weeks, because every 2 to 3 weeks we have a dinner, sport events. So
Yeah.
we also see each other way more times. It's not only waiting for the salon every quarter. We have group chats where, of course, you can also communicate with other members that are, of course, in the Enlightenment that you've seen, for example, before already, or that you've seen in, for example, one of the salons. So you can also connect with each other.
Yeah.
Not what you just mentioned, like about, I will send you a LinkedIn request and I will catch
Never
up with you
speak.
later.
Yeah.
No, we have an active conversation with each other.
I think the intention, like intention is such a stupid word, but it's the most accurate word. Like the intention when you're there. You know, when we have events, you can talk about anything and anything and everything. But the thing is, when you're at a networking event, or for example, our salon, the 29th, this is not gonna be just some, oh, there are some entrepreneurs, 50 entrepreneurs, and we're just gonna talk. No, it's gonna be, you know, when I open the evening, I'm gonna set the standard. It's gonna be like, what are you here to bring? What are you here to take?
Yeah.
What are some problems you can possibly solve? What is the person you're looking for to get you to the next level?
Yeah. What is the intention of stepping into the room with us today?
Exactly. Where are you? What's your standard as a gentleman right now? And do you see other people that are gentlemen at maybe a higher level that you can be inspired by? And I think the key is also if you're inspired, if you can allow yourself to be inspired by others instead of that fucking Maarten, his hair is too slick today, man. It's like,
is it?
If you're that person, don't join.
Yeah.
So, for the final, do you want to share a little bit of our vision?
I will look. Could I share my most favorite thing about the vision?
100%.
It's Friday night, the 9th of December 2028. And tonight we sit in the private cigar lounge of the Enlightenment House to discuss our next moves and commitments for 2029. Our Gentlemen's Club, our creation, located in the center of Madrid. We form a hub of entrepreneurs worldwide taking over the entrepreneurial landscape. People go here for a fresh perspective from all other members, also called the intelligentsia. We talk about business, reaching your full potential and hosting salons. Madrid is pleased to have us gentlemen in town because our Gentlemen's Club is a positive force for the good of the city and for Spain. We own Madrid.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
So yeah, we've got exactly written out. We've already declared to each other, you know, the 9th of December 2028. This is where we are, and ultimately the gentleman home. It's gonna be our ultimate vision, and we're gonna need around 100 people that are all in on being a member in Madrid.
Yeah.
They want to be part of an amazing house, which is not just some co-working. Come talk to us and we'll explain you more about it. But this is our vision. And it may take us a few years because we need to build up a reputation. It's going to be expensive to buy a building.
As we mentioned, it's the 12th of April 2026, right?
So we need some gas. But it's good to already have this clear because, you know, this is also one of the most important things. What is your point B, right? This is a question we ask each other and all the members, like, what is your point B? What is the next step? Where do you want to go?
Yeah.
So it's only fair and only makes sense that we are leading with our point B, at least for the Enlightenment. And how cool would it be to have 100 members in a physical building in Madrid with a wellness, with a rooftop, with a meeting room, and just 100 solid gentlemen.
Yeah.
How cool would it be?
And also, like, this is an invitation for everybody watching, of course. Like, if you hear us speaking about this, like, I know how committed I am, and I know how committed you are. So this is going to be created. So, of course, the sooner you step into our world, the sooner we're going to take you with us to achieving what we've described here. Like, it's a story, right? It's a story we've written right now, we've declared to each other, and where we have given a commitment on.
Yep.
So again, like, right now it's I mentioned the 12th of April, the 11th of April 2026. We're starting. This is only the beginning, right? So again, if it resonates you, experiences. And then you can also see like from, yeah, what for caliber we are.